Oh, it's a new season number 4, and we're going to have more than 18 maybe this year. It's episode 1.
Episodes?
Yeah.
You know what? The
Last
gang's
year
all here for this one.
Yeah.
We got a full house.
We were a little relaxed last year on our podcast schedule.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was,
What?
nobody complained.
I had a few people ask us why we don't have more of them.
I have had.
We only had 14 last year. See, the last
It was
one
only 14. I thought it was 18.
14 is what I have.
14. Yeah. Wow, we really did slack
Yeah,
from
that's
like 25
barely,
to 14.
That's barely one a month. We should have close to
We're
like
going to try
30.
to ramp it up to 15 this year.
Ooh.
I don't know how many total podcasts we've done. This is the season 4, obviously. But I don't know how many we did each season. I think we had
one year we did like 25.
I thought we did pushing 30.
The first year we did the most.
Yeah. That's when it was like fresh.
That's when we were excited.
It was like, yeah. It's like when you got that new.
People wanted to hear us.
Right. When people cared.
Got that new person in your life. You're all like, oh, yeah. Hey, how you doing?
The relationship does
18
stale
years
quickly.
later, you're like, oh, boy.
Yeah.
We need to probably track that out so we can have our extravaganza 100th show.
Right.
In 2036.
2036.
I was on a podcast last week.
Oh, yeah?
Last weekend, and the
Which
guy
one?
said, "Have you ever been on a podcast before?" And I thought, well, apparently he's not a watcher.
Yeah.
He's a listener.
Yeah, or listener, or whatever.
He's first time caller, long time not listening.
Something like that. Yeah. So, yeah, it's been since December 18th was the last podcast.
Before Santa Claus came.
Happy New Year.
Yay!
Happy New Year. We need one of those things that shoots confetti everywhere.
Maybe Nate can put a graphic up there.
Yeah.
In his
make
spare
it-
time,
Can
since
you
he's back
sprinkle-
home.
Can you sprinkle stuff from the air, Nate, for us, please?
Like
Put it-
confetti.
Hey, have generative AI do that later. There you go.
Sweet.
CGI.
But it's,
I thought CGI was like the old stuff, and now it's like
no, that's
AG,
CSI.
CSQ,
AI is a whole nother subject. We could spend a
Chat
podcast.
GPQ, or whatever it is.
We
or-
could spend a podcast talking about AI.
Oh, season 1, 27 episodes.
27.
Somebody get a calculator.
I got it.
16.
That's
Ooh,
43.
16 on season 2.
So this is number 58.
We got a long ways to go to
58.
that 100th
We
one.
got to get
Barely
to,
halfway
we
to
gotta
100.
get to, Can we get to 100 this year?
I mean, we could if we
That's
did
like
one
one
like
a
every
week.
week.
Yeah. What the hell else
Well,
you
no,
guys
every
do?
week would be 50. Well,
They were already how
You
many?
just got to drive over here. Yeah, for those that don't know, Ryan and Jerry are Polk County Des Moinesians.
Yes.
You know, so it's about an hour and 45-minute drive, isn't it, to get up here, roughly? For
Roughly.
2 hours?
Yeah.
2 hours for them guys to get here. I'm obviously in the office daily, even on Saturdays and Sundays most of the time.
Yeah, you're like a stone's throw away.
As with Nate, which is where our podcast room is at, here in Vinton.
Jim's from we don't
Jim's
we
in
do not
Omaha.
know which mental ward today.
parts unknown.
Parts of
See, we have a small window of opportunity with Jim because the tests aren't back yet.
So New Year's resolutions, do you have any? Anybody have any? Jerry, do you got a New Year's resolution?
No, I really. Well, if you did by the
How do you
second
improve on
Friday,
perfection.
well, I don't know. I don't even know how to get to perfection, let alone.
I have one for Jerry, but I'm probably not going to say it.
Oh, come on!
No, I don't want anybody mad at me.
Who's gonna be mad at you?
Somebody always gets pissed off at me, so
Oh, well,
my sense of humor is apparently not the same as others.
join the club.
Oh, come on. You can't do this to us
Yeah,
and
but-
not say it.
Jerry's New Year's resolution is he's going to be a promoter this year.
Yay!
What do they say? By the second week in January, that one's already gone?
Yeah, that is what they actually have a day they call that.
It's like Weight Watchers.
Yeah. No, that was day 2.
Ryan, do you have a?
I don't make New Year's
don't- yeah,
resolutions.
I
I figure if there's something worth changing in my life, why wait till January 1st? But I don't know. I don't have any. It's been a long time since I've made one.
Yeah, I haven't made one in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't really made one either. Although I did quit drinking. I have not drank any alcohol.
What?
Oh, there you go.
I have tried to. The off season for me is just awful. Once racing kind of slows down in September, it just feel like what do I do every weekend? Well, I go to the Mexican restaurant here in town.
Oh, so you become one of those seasonal alcoholics.
Right. I just started drinking, and good Lord. So I haven't drank this year yet. Maybe once. I broke my resolution, but it was just once.
That's how it starts.
One
It's
drink
One
is
time.
what I've had.
Just one leads to another.
Yeah.
I think my resolution is to drink more this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I can remember the last time I can remember the last time I saw Jim drink.
I don't know.
It was it was that funny.
You're gonna be a bear, be a grizzly.
You know, if you're going to
Or
be tough, you got to be dumb.
You'd really display your charming personality under the influence of alcohol.
Oh,
then.
yeah.
Can you imagine that?
I
Jim
become
drunk?
nicer.
And
I think.
I'm a happy drunk. When I drink, I get happy.
I am too.
Yeah, I mean, my wife kind of she gets angry. I call her she's an angry drunk.
She's like one of those gets whiskey drunk and is like,
Yeah, you know, she starts getting serious where I start getting like unserious. But oh well, that's what makes it fun to hang out with us when we're drinking. Usually some stupid shit done and said. But
hell of a
whatever.
good fight, though.
So yeah. Anyhow, and
18.
Jim, so did we ask Jim? Did you have a resolution?
Yeah, he was going to be.
told you.
He
He's
was
going to drink more.
He was going to drink more.
More.
That don't count. We know that's not going to happen.
No,
I'm just gonna be a kinder, gentler Jim.
you tried that.
No
two-
boxing classes or anything
2
like
years
that.
You
ago.
Jim?
tried that
Year
2
to
years
me.
ago, and we see how long
I
that
wish.
lasted.
Jim's going to get back into fighting shape.
That's right.
For a while, Jim was going to a gym that
Jim went to a gym.
Jim went to a gym, spelled
Yeah.
differently, but they say, but he was
They
doing
both worked the same.
Yeah, they weren't the same word, different spelling, weird. So he was doing like that boxing, right? Yeah, I don't know if they
Cardio boxing or kickboxing.
yeah.
You know, the motto of my gym was, if you want clean towels, go to Planet Fitness.
It was on their Facebook page for a while too.
Yeah, if you want clean towels, go to Planet Fitness.
Wow. I go to the Facebook page of the gym that Jim was in there at. And Jim, there's a picture out of Jim standing there in the middle of the boxing ring. He just looked like he was pissed.
So they actually had a picture of Jim on their gym Facebook page.
There was like a group. There was like 4 or 5 individuals out.
was
in
like a stage photo or
in
something?
like a boxing ring. Like, hey, everybody, we're going to take a picture this morning. You know, there's Jim in the middle.
Now, was this with or without his captain or Mr. Magoo hat from Super
I don't think
Nationals?
he had a hat on. I don't think he had a hat on.
I don't think I had
Were you getting the shit kicked out of you?
He just,
I would have paid good money to watch that.
I should have saved it. It's one of those ones that just make
There
me
was a
laugh every
time or
time
two
saw
I
it.
did.
I would have joined that gym
Like, why
to
the-
watch that gym get gymmed.
Even without the clean towel. it's your
Yeah,
choice.
I would have brought my own.
Yeah. What the hell am I doing here? Kind of look on his face, you know? Like,
Yeah,
why am
I
doing
would.
this?
Yeah, every now and then.
Good times. That's how. But that's how we keep Jim, you know, in fighting weight, fighting classes,
That's it. That's it.
kickboxing.
Speaking of fights, Crawford's going to fight again in September.
Oh boy, we should try to go to that one.
Maybe Tyson will fight again.
No, that's going to
Oh,
be too
God,
tough.
that was
I
awful.
think it's going to be too much.
That was awful.
That's going to be the fight of the decade.
Oh, that's what they said about the Tyson fight too.
The Crawford fight.
Yeah.
Crawford will be serious boxing though. Tyson's wasn't serious.
No,
Moving
you knew
up
that
again.
one. Anybody who thought
Moving
that
up
was going
again.
to be
You're
a
going to fight
serious,
Canelo.
anybody who
Oh,
thought that
man.
was going to be a serious,
You can't get his
boxing
tickets for
match.
that. Come on, Jim. Don't
Oh,
you got some
they
pull?
haven't- I don't know.
Haven't
Believe
you
me,
made a guy mad that you've kissed and made up with that you can get us tickets from?
Right.
JJ's working on it right now, but we're unsure of where it's going to be. If it's going to be in Vegas, but there was talk about it being at Allegiant, the football stadium, or maybe whatever the arena is there. I can't even remember the name of it.
Where they do the NFR?
Or the Knights play and all that.
yeah, okay.
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe they'll have
Last
it-
fight
have
we
it in the
went to
Sphere.
was in
Yeah. Then they can
where was
put
that? Where was that fight at, Brett? For the Porter fight we went to, Crawford Porter,
It was wasn't it Mandalay Bay?
Mandalay Bay. Yeah.
That was one of the coolest experiences I've ever
Oh,
done.
that was neat.
Jim and I got free tickets. And I couldn't
We
turn
went.
it down. So
duh.
I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get free tickets. It was like literally 4 rows in from the
It's like you were getting like spat on and stuff, like when they would hit him and it,
Floyd.
It was-
Floyd Mayweather's dad sat behind us,
Behind us, and Thomas Hearns.
and Thomas Hearns.
is that behind you guys?
Right behind us in the row, right behind
Yeah.
us.
Wow.
So it was like,
The hitman, I don't know if he knew he was there. I think the hitman
Yeah.
had took a few too many hits.
too many
but
hits.
He was behind us.
Bret
It
Hart was
looked
there?
like he needed a sippy cup or a drip cup.
Exactly.
Needed a bib. Just let
A
it
bib.
go down.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
was a neat experience. Just,
Okay.
if you want to watch people watch, that's the place to do
yeah.
it.
I've said it for years. I do not know how someone can just get into a squared ring
Beat the crap
and
out of
just think that this is what I'm going to do for a living is just
Beat
get
hell
the
out of
shit
people or
beat
get
out
the
of me,
shit-
and then I'm going to whale the dog piss out of another guy. How does that?
Thank God they do. 'Cause
They
it's
do,
fun
yeah,
to
it's
watch.
Oh,
entertaining.
God, yes.
It is fun to watch.
God, yes.
Cool experience.
That was a blast.
Let's talk racing.
Oh,
We've had some races already, even though it's, February 6th today?
Yeah. We're a month into the season.
We have had how many races? Quite a few. Many. Yeah, 20-some, Nate said already.
Yeah.
Broadcasts, streams. Lots of stuff going on at Casa Grande, obviously, down in
Yes.
Central Arizona.
Winter National, Ernie Mincy, early thaw.
Yeah, the Winter Nationals is already over. We've already crowned 6 champions for the 2025 season already.
does it ever really freeze in Arizona?
I don't know.
Why would
See
you
all
call
that
it like
snow that
Yeah. You guys, you guys were cold down there.
Not the week I was there.
Well, that was because there's more hot air in the atmosphere.
I mean, we literally have no snow on the ground here. Got some ice last night.
Yeah, I got some
We have
ice.
no snow on the ground here in Iowa,
crazy.
but they probably got more snow in Destin, Florida, than we got in
There was
Iowa.
a foot, so yeah,
year.
like there was a foot
How
in
weird is
Destin.
that?
How much have we had? Like 2 inches?
Not very much.
No,
Not
we
enough to
maybe.
even keep it on the ground.
Yeah.
You're
I think-
familiar with 2 inches, Jerry. Have we had about 2 inches?
I measured it myself. It was a little deep. Here we go.
God, here we go. The softballs are coming up. And the
Some
new
fo-
kind of gentler Jim isn't going to say anything.
Jim was very accurate on the 1/100th of an inch of ice in Omaha measurement.
Some familiar names in winning those races down there in Casa Grande, and obviously winning the championships. Broxma and the modifieds.
He was quick down there this year.
He was quick last year.
Yeah.
You got 2 of the wins
I
down
imagine.
there, too.
Yeah,
But he's always quick. And him and Drew are they're like two different animals.
He's driving the Rage house car. I don't know how many people know that, or if that's supposed to be said or not, but I believe
Who's
that's
he?
what's going on. 'cause
Ethan or
Probably 12 or 13
Ethan.
know now.
Ethan. Yeah.
Broxman's living up.
Now that we'll get up to 15, we'll put it free on YouTube.
A good dozen know now.
Yeah, Broxman's living up in West Union. Last I knew, at least he was last fall when I talked to him.
That's where Drew was living too, because
Yeah.
Drew works for him. But
Yep. Fast race cars. Both those guys
Yeah.
are pretty quick. Shelby Williams won the stock cars.
And Ryan couldn't even recognize him in the picture.
Oh, the picture he looked
Cut his
completely
hair.
different.
yeah,
cut
he
his
got a
hair.
hair, he got a haircut.
That's
I mean,
iconic.
we need to get
I mean,
him on the podcast just to talk about
Have like
his
the
hair
before and
getting cut.
after.
Shit, he's
Right.
probably at Wahoo's house right now.
If I could
No,
grow-
it's too cold for him to be at Wahoo's house.
if he wasn't standing in
It's
front
too
of
cold
his
for
race
wa-
car in that picture, I wouldn't have known it was him.
Right.
I wouldn't have known.
I was like, whoa, he changed his look.
Yeah,
If I could grow hair that long and look like that, I would never cut it.
and then he it was I can't remember what charity they donated. Some local charity
Did he?
that does the
I was going to
does
ask if he did
wigs
that
for
with locks
they
for
did that.
love or
Something
whatever they
like
call
that.
some of that stuff. That's cool. Well, good for him for doing that, really.
Yeah.
But again, did anybody else win a stock car race down there besides him? Oh, yeah, Wahoo.
Wahoo.
won a few.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, there.
Wahoo on the broadcast. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. How many F-bombs did Wahoo have this year, Nate?
Oh, my Lord.
2 on the live, and then he had him and Shelby took the cameras.
Does he have a house down there or something?
Yeah, it's called a toter.
Trailer.
He literally they pulled in and
But as
stayed.
much money as he makes, though, farming? He
Oh,
probably
there's
has a
no
house
money in
everywhere.
farming. Just ask him.
He probably has
Yeah,
a
just
house in
ask
every
him.
state.
Yeah.
How much money is that guy?
Well, he's moving to Florida here in about 2 weeks.
Right. He'll
Yeah.
have a house down there,
He had to
too.
come home and empty the mailbox out and get paid again.
It's so fun to talk about him when he can't talk back.
I know.
It's the best.
Yeah, there were quite a few stock car winners down there. Braden Richards won
Yeah.
a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won the first night.
Murdy won. Chase
Fast.
Berkeley, Charneski, Todd Heinrich,
Some
Yeah.
familiar
Chaz
names
Baca.
and some unfamiliar names.
It was the hobby stocks that had one winner the
Yeah.
whole week, I think.
Yeah.
Dylan.
Well,
No.
it's the same first name.
Yeah, they had the same first
Yeah.
name. One went to a Dylan Thompson, and the rest went to Dylan Richards.
Yep. I think he won some races down there last year, didn't he? He did.
Yeah.
I think
He
so.
was pretty dominant.
Robbie Tom was good down there in the sport mod too.
Who?
Robbie
Oh,
Tom.
yes, he was. Nebraska, right?
Yeah, the one car.
Yep, I
was
recognize
really
He
that
got
name.
4
as
of them.
well.
He won half of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't win the championship, though.
No.
Dustin White did. And I don't know if I know who Dustin White is. Do I?
The name
I don't-
sounds
yeah.
familiar, but
Doesn't sound
it's like
familiar
a
to me.
73 or something. I can't remember what car number he is. Dustin White.
Yeah, you
73.
get Dustin White won the sport mods. Congratulations to him. And then the
Where's he from?
I don't even know.
So, didn't he?
I don't have that
I
in
think he's
front of me.
Minnesota.
Yeah, I do
Compact. Compact went to Gilbert Aldape. Is that right?
Aldape.
Aldape, yeah.
Did I say that right?
Yeah. From Sioux
I'm getting
City, I
better at
think.
this.
Dustin White is from
Oh, yeah,
Eagle
Eagle,
River,
that's what I thought,
Wisconsin.
yeah.
You looking over my
Holy
computer?
crap.
I looked because I saw it right there.
He probably
This
got
is
the long
confidential
toe, too.
stuff. You can't be reading my official IMCA computer, Jerry.
Dustin White probably got the long toe award too. Eagle River is not anywhere near Phoenix.
No, when he was down there racing the sport mod, they were racing snowmobiles on the World
And
Championships.
that is
up
in
there.
northern Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
Eagle
way
River's up there.
That is up there. a ways.
I do know that. Correct.
I think he's one that came from the dark side to the good side.
It happens.
Yeah, because he's been at Super Nationals last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met him. Well, congratulations to
I
him.
never saw. 73 is his number.
And I don't think I know Mr. Aldape either.
He's been to.
He's a Sioux City guy.
Yeah, he's been to Super
City.
Nationals.
A lot of those. We get a lot of Sioux City support for the Super Nationals for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
Yep.
Because it's kind of close. It's only 3 hours.
That's where our entertainment comes from.
Yes.
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 There's only 2 things to do in Sioux City.
That's,
Race and strip.
Yep.
well, there's 3. There's hockey in the
Oh yeah,
they got the Musketeers.
Every once in a while, they whack up.
You got hockey's Mavericks and
With a
Jimmy
stick.
Cole,
Right.
and you can get them all in the same building some nights.
Jimmy May won the Mod Lights down there.
Jimmy, man.
Jimmy.
I don't think
I'm
Jimmy.
sorry.
I don't think Jimmy's won it.
Jimmy, Josh, Jimmy.
Josh,
Josh-
he won the Mod Light Championship, and then he took a nasty ride at Ocala.
Oh, right. Yeah, we were talking about this before we started the podcast. You know, Josh is down there. He won down there, and now he's all the way over on the other side of the United States, racing in Georgia and Florida. Mod Lights down there. So I mean, Mod Light racing. I think I said this in my column too this month. You know, Mod Light racing is. We've probably touched more states with Mod Light racing at this point in time than we have any other division.
But the way he flew last night, I don't know if he flew from Phoenix to Ocala or if he actually drove.
That thing was in the air like a
Well, he
rocket.
crashed last. He flew from the middle of the back straightaway to turn 3.
Yeah, I'm sure he tore it up pretty good. I think he went home after that.
Yeah, but you know, it's one of those. It just goes to show those little cars built tough. He walked away from it.
Yeah.
Oh, we had a couple nasty ones at Ocala the night before.
Ooh, there was like wasn't there 3 in that one down
Yeah.
the front straightaway when that guy made the left-hand turn at the
And
flag
even down
stand?
at Casa Grande, we put one over as high as the fence at,
Yeah, who was that? That was
I think, a green car.
that was green and white.
They had they raced Mod Lights down in Casa Grande, and then they went to Needmore, which is in Georgia, I believe.
Yep.
In conjunction with the Hunt the Front series.
Yep.
So we were
What's
scheduled. We were scheduled to run
Late models.
a late model touring series down. I think it's more regional. I don't. think
Yeah,
Hunt
it's
the
that
Front
southeast
goes-
region. They come
yeah.
up a little bit in Tennessee in that way.
And the Joyner kid, Joseph. I think they'll probably be racing. I think they got a modified too. I don't know if it's.
They're going to
Joseph.
race, yeah.
One of them will be at the Clash.
One of
the
them's
Coast.
racing for Spencer Andrews, driving Spencer's car.
There you go. Yep. But anyhow, so the Hunt the Front guys who put on the series and race late models, they're based out of Milton too. They asked if we'd run sanctioned Mod Lights with their races in Needmore, and so we did. We had a great turnout too.
Yeah, no, it
Almost
was.
40
It was
of them,
good numbers.
38 or 39 of them. I think they had some problems.
Yeah.
A couple guys had some problems in the practice on the first night. They rained
Yeah.
out the first night of the show,
One,
and then they just
yeah,
ran the
one night
second.
got rained out.
Yep. And then they ran. So they ended up running one short at Needmore. Riley Clem actually initially won that race,
And then Bad Dog No Biscuit Award.
but was disqualified in tech. And I think Jaden, I think is his name, McDowell.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Tennessee
722.
Mod Light guy, right?
Murfreesboro.
Remember correctly. Yeah.
Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
There you go. Who's fast? He's a guy
he's
in
quick.
that Mod Light group, especially in that Tennessee part of Mod Light racing. It's pretty quick. People know who he is. So, yeah. So again, and then now we're running Mod Lights down in Ocala. Was the last 2 nights
Yep. And they go to Hendry County.
over the weekend.
All the way down there.
Then they go
Sugar
to Hendrick
Bowl.
County. Yes,
The furthest
clear down
dirt
by.
track in the country.
It's like down by Miami. It's like halfway between Miami and Orlando. And that is going to be streamed on Done Right with IMCA TV.
Yep.
Done Right, the IMCA affiliate, IMCA TV affiliate.
Affiliate, yes.
So Done Right TV will host Henry, and they have the last
They've done it for a long
3
time.
years. Yeah, I've been to Hendry County. It's a neat little racetrack. It's good for Mod Lights for sure. The size is about right. So we'll see what kind of turnout we get down there in Henry County as well. So plenty of racing already started.
Yes.
Well, we got some coming up too.
We do. We'll talk about that in a second. Trade shows. Let's talk trade shows. We'll jump to trade shows, and then we'll go back to some of the rule stuff. We'll talk about a little bit of the rule stuff and some of our early season stuff. So, but we're still doing trade shows even though racing has started. I went to Colorado last weekend. I flew out to Denver on Friday night.
Oh, thanks for letting me know how to give you an order.
Drove down to I bet you would. I don't even want to know.
You didn't bring me any back when you went to that wedding last year.
Yeah, I didn't have any left to bring back.
That is also on my New Year's resolution.
Oh, you got start or stop?
Never. So then I drove down to Colorado Springs and attended on Saturday. I attended a little trade show that Joe Bellum was putting on over in Callahan, which was a small little town. It reminded me a lot of where you guys were just at getting your jackets, whether it be Keystone, Benton Community, this area, the small little rural town. Callahan's I think they said there's 1,000 people in Callahan.
Wow.
Got a
Jerry,
fairgrounds
were
on
you
it and a racetrack.
Were you at your brother's trade show, Jerry? Did you?
Which one?
Jerry and Joe Bellum?
No, I'm not. No, I did not go to. Did not go to
Your
that
brother's
one.
trade show?
We make fun of Joe a lot. I said this at the banquet.
And
I went
Jerry.
through
Yeah,
and
well,
Jerry.
yeah. I mean, that's
They're
a
easy.
given.
Y'all are easy to make fun of. But but Joe does a really good job out there. I said this at his banquet on Saturday night. He had a really well attended banquet, to be quite honest. I was surprised. A couple hundred people there. Had it like you would in normal fairgrounds.
Yeah,
I wouldn't call it a convention center.
It's like a little activities building or
Exactly.
community center.
Exactly. It reminded me the one you have in Marshalltown and like the one we have here in town. And a lot of fairgrounds have those types of buildings. Nice little venue. Joe did a great job. He spoke well, said a lot of cool things. Joe tries hard. He really does. You got to give him a credit. He doesn't sit on his hands. So he's doing the best he can to help racing out in Colorado, and we appreciate all the support that he gives us and obviously all the support that the racers give us. Saw some familiar faces that were at the national banquet, which is good to see. It's good. I get to know race cars and I get to know people at the races, not necessarily so much at banquets and things like that. So it was nice for me to get to talk to some of those guys outside the race car setting, the tech area setting,
Yeah, they're
the
not
pit setting.
typically wanting to yell at you at a banquet either.
Right. I spent a lot of time talking to Hunter Smith. For the Ryan probably knows who Hunter
one
is.
S.
No, Hunter.
Yep. He's
He's
switching
our
to stock
rookie of the
cars
year,
this
wasn't
year.
he?
Sport mod.
Sport Mod Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
Yeah, he was a hobby and then a sport mod.
Yep. He's jumped around. Now he's in the stock cars.
He'll be good.
Going to go stock car
Yeah,
racing.
no, he's
He
good.
will
Good
be
little
good.
racer.
Good
Good
kid.
racer.
Yep. They come to Boone. They've come to Boone. I know he was there last year. We talked a little bit about it. So it's nice to talk to Hunter. He's a good kid.
Then, of course, there was the always well-attended and established Luxembourg trade show.
Right. Ryan and Jim both blasted up to Green Bay.
We had to tag team that event.
It was busy. It's always well attended, though. I mean, it was.
You always say that. I think I went to that one a handful of years ago before you went for IMCA. I know I've went up to that show a couple
We used to
of
go
years.
to
be in
Manitowoc.
Manitowoc.
Yeah, it used to be in
It
Manitowoc.
changed. Yep.
Now
I
they-
went up there one year during it was a Super Bowl week, and I ended up going to, I want to say it was a Super Bowl party with Woody back in the day when Woody was running Surgeon Bay.
Like the old Victory Sign Super Bowl party.
I went to, it was a bar. I can't remember the guy's name. Charlie, what's Charlie's last name?
Barons?
Oh, I
no.
Charlie Barons, yeah. Hey there, guy.
I went up there for
I think I know which bar you're talking about, though. I can't.
Where
think of
was
the
it?
name of
Was it in?
it was up by Luxembourg.
Wisconsin.
It was up. I can't remember. But Charlie has a bar. I could see his face. Big dude, like angry looking guy.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't want to ever really have him mad at me. But he's a nice guy. Yeah, they had a Super Bowl party. We gave some stuff away at a Super Bowl party.
No, I mean,
Now they
it was
intentionally don't schedule the trade show.
Yes.
They,
Yeah.
they schedule it the week between
Yeah.
conference championships and the Super Bowl, just in case the Packers ever return.
I think if I remember correctly, the
That's
year that
called
we went
wishful
up to that,
thinking.
Virginia was pregnant with Kennedy, so it would have been 2011 when I went up there for that show. That was many years ago.
you talked about going to a bar in Wisconsin. That's anybody's house.
Right.
I don't think
That,
I've been.
that New Year's Eve, I walked into this place and it was a bar, and it was a house that was converted to a bar. It was crazy.
Right along the highway.
That was right along the highway, and
Yeah,
it was
there's like
3:30 in the morning on New Year's.
It's a
And
Wisconsin thing.
And hey,
How do you know it wasn't
they make it
somebody's
work.
house, Jerry, at
They have a lot of
3:30 in
fun
the
up
morning?
there.
It had a pool table and a dart machine. So
That don't matter up there.
Yeah.
Did it have a ham sign out in the front yard?
no, I think it had old style. To be honest with you,
Okay.
that's what I had. But
Then it could have been a bar.
on New Year's Eve, the bars in Wisconsin don't close.
Why
But
would
you
you?
do know, if you went to a bar in Wisconsin, odds are it was one of CZ's bars.
This one was not. It was out of his. It was
So
out of
you
his.
found the one.
I found the one in the Luxembourg area that CZ does not own.
I think in all my travels to Wisconsin, the bar at 141 is the only one I've been in the state of Wisconsin. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I can say that I've been to the Frog Station.
Conversely, I've been to 141. I don't know how many times, at least a half
never been
dozen.
in?
I've never been in the bar.
What?
I've never walked in it. Never
You-
been in it.
Did you fall down and hit your head or something?
I'm in the pit.
They do the draw there.
That's where
I
they do
know,
the
but
draw.
I go to
do the
pit.
payout.
I go park and I end up like in the pit area talking to people. And by the time I get done talking, they're ready to start racing. I'm hanging
I
out.
thought you meant by the time we got done talking, they were done racing.
But that too. That too. The draw's over by the time I'm done talking in the pits, and then we start racing. I'm right back out in the infield. But yeah, I've never been to the
That's always a good time up there.
Turn
too.
One Club
Left
or
turn-
whatever they-
Left turn lounge.
left turn lounge, whatever they call it.
CZ's done some remodeling. They've done a lot of
bet.
work up there. He's
I bet he has.
over the fall.
I think there's
Holy
even more
goodness.
remodeling in store.
He's one of those guys.
Yes.
CZ's one of those guys. You have to wonder how much he actually sleeps. Like, what?
I don't think he sleeps much.
That's what I
No.
mean. He's like one of
I
those
think he's
guys
also
that
like one of those Wayne Beckers. Don't tell him he can't do something because he
Oh my
will
God.
do
it
it.
motivates him.
Yeah, for fun, last week I called Wayne and said, I bet you can't make that trek a half mile.
And I bet you he probably said you're right.
That's funny.
No, I think he's out there now moving dirt.
Crazy.
Because he's got a race, what, the 8th of February?
No, it's March. 8th of March.
Is
I
it
think
March?
it is.
Yeah, March, yeah. We're in February right now.
There's
I
another
think it's
trade show
March
that's
8th.
coming up. That
Yeah, February would be 2 days.
Sioux City always has a good trade show swap meet. They've had up there for years.
Yeah, they have that one, and there's always one usually out around US 30.
Yeah, they've got
Bobby
one up
Lincoln
there.
usually have ones, which I want to bring up. You know, Bobby's stepfather, Kenny Ganskow, passed away this
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Or this week, so we want to pass on our condolences to Sam Lincoln and Bobby and everybody attached
Kenny
to
and-
US 30. I mean, yeah. Life is short.
It was hard to go to a race where you didn't see Sam and Kenny.
Oh yeah.
Sam and Kenny, I when Bobby took over US 30, you know, Sam, they were fixtures at the Super Nationals for many years.
They were last year.
And
They were
she
both
said, "Do I still get to come to Super Nationals?" And I was like, "Listen, Sam, you'll have a lifetime pass to come to Super Nationals." And they come.
And they use it.
Yep,
They
they were there this
I
year.
think the last, I think the health issues have kind of slowed them both down
Yeah.
a little bit, obviously. And then
You could tell it was a struggle for him getting up
Yeah.
the stairs and stuff.
Yeah.
this
Kenny
year.
was a good guy. So,
Yes, he was.
any more trade show stuff? I don't think so. Nothing exciting.
well,
anything else
Promoters
exciting?
Workshop on Sunday. Or I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
head down there.
Oh,
on
you're
Sunday.
flying out, aren't you?
See, we haven't got into like things we're gonna be doing in the next week or two. We're trying to get caught up to present day. We're still talking about the stuff we've been doing, races and trade shows and stuff.
What'd you get for
it's busy.
Christmas?
What did I get for Christmas?
Yeah, did you get anything cool for Christmas? Oh, if you got to think about it, you didn't get jack shit for Christmas.
It's a month and a half ago.
Well,
Jerry.
yeah, but you were
Yeah,
thinking
no
would
doubt.
stick in your memory. Like, I got something for Christmas.
The thing I remember about Christmas, I got a Christmas story. I always have stories. I got a Christmas story. We went down
that a
to
movie?
Waco. Yeah, kind of. We went
Shoot
down.
your eye out.
We
Well,
shoot
not with a
out.
BB gun.
Just about. We went down to Waco for the holidays, Christmas and New Year's, and my wife Christmas with all her family was on New Year's Day. At 6 o'clock on New Year's Day, she woke up and said she feels like shit. I'm like, well, okay.
Did she drink the alcohol that you
So I
swore
said,
off?
did you
or
drink
what?
too much? And she's like, no, I didn't. That isn't it. I just don't feel good. And so I went to the grocery store because we were going to go at 7 a.m. I went by myself, and she called me when I was at the store. And she said she's not doing well. So and she wasn't. It was an awful day. She was in bed for literally 24 hours. The only thing she got out of bed to do was go to the bathroom and throw up. And so I hosted my in-laws at Christmas.
That was
for
all
Christmas,
nice.
all by myself. when it was over.
What kind of pizza did you order?
When it was over, I went into the bedroom, and Virginia was asking me who was here, who was there. That's how she did not even get to see anybody. It really upset her, but I felt terrible. But that I don't know. I think I'd rather do drivers meetings, and I'd rather argue with race car drivers than host a Christmas with my in-laws that I've never done. I was like alone. It was.
I'm sure they were sympathetic to the situation you were
I'm
in.
also
was
picturing
longer
you
than-
as Clark Griswold in that situation.
Drivers meeting or
was
the Christmas
tough.
party.
But I have great in-laws. I get along with all them. What'd you say, Jim? Sorry.
He wanted to know which was
What
longer,
was-
the
what
Christmas
was
party
longer,
or the
your
driver's meeting.
Drivers meeting or the Christmas party?
Yeah, the Christmas party was pretty long.
Well, yeah, because that's a whole day.
So
but
the drivers meeting.
We had fun. We had a blast.
do you play any good games? Do you play any like?
I know they listen to the
charades
podcast too. My brother-in-law CJ and my
Oh, they listen to this
brother-in-law.
stuff,
yeah.
man.
Oh yeah, they're race fans.
They're
I met my
He's
wife
one of
through
the 12.
racing. As much as she doesn't like to have me say that, her family they go to Heart of Texas Speedway
Oh yeah.
a lot. Not because they know me. That's just what they like to do. So, and my brother-in-law works with Selby Holder for a job. So he's pretty connected to the racetrack through.
And what else?
He
would
knows
you do
all the
for-
gossip shit
What
like
else would
that.
you do for fun in Waco?
Waco's a good town.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot to do there. It's fun. We have a lot of friends.
Go to the silos.
Go to the silos. Yeah, been there, done that.
Ball game isn't Baylor in Waco?
Baylor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Baylor's there.
Yeah. Yep.
Then you make the trip to Elmont to go to the races.
Correct.
Yes. Just right up the street from Waco.
It is.
Did you get anything cool for Christmas, Ryan?
What the hell are we having a Christmas
I just
conversation?
thought, oh,
Did
shit.
did you get something cool? Is that why you?
No,
wanted to
I
say
actually
that?
got nothing. I
come
just was
on,
going off.
Jerry.
Yeah, I got a
tell
new
my-
pillow. I got a new
Wait,
pillow.
let me handle this one. Gee, Jerry, did you get anything cool for Christmas?
Yep, shirt and piece of ass. They're both too big.
No way.
You got a piece of ass.
I
You
thought
know
I
better
had
than
something
that.
to do with anything.
I tell my wife every Christmas, every birthday, every anniversary, which I just had my anniversaries a couple days ago.
That's all
she'll
you
say,
want?
What do you want for your anniversary? What do you want for your birthday? I said the same thing I want every year.
Yep.
Same thing I want for Christmas every year.
Yep.
You went without
for
again, didn't you?
anniversary.
Yeah, I
every
usually
year.
get that. Same thing.
I don't know how
That
long
doesn't
it's going to
change.
take it to realize that ain't going to happen. Might as well just get a gift card from
I know.
Give me a gift card. To
After 18 years
Menards.
of being married, I'm starting to figure that stuff out, Jim. Oh, well. Good times.
So what'd you get, Jerry?
Nothing,
Pins and
really.
needles?
We're still waiting.
Oh,
I told you I got a shirt. and
We
piece
thought
of
you were
ass was
leading
too
us
much.
into something here.
No, I
No,
just
we
was
weren't.
curious. People like to.
Wait for the
People
punchline.
like to know some of the personal things that happen in our lives.
but usually they don't want to know on February 8th what you got for Christmas.
Well, if we'd had a podcast on January 2nd, it might have been a little easier and a little closer to Christmas. But what are you getting for What do you get your Valentine's for Valentine's Day?
That's the same thing I want for Christmas. Come
It's
on.
a day of
We
lovers.
just had this
Oh
conversation.
boy,
What do you
I
want?
get to prove what a well-rounded individual I am.
Like in the midsection or where?
Yeah.
Nope, with my generosity for Valentine's Day.
So you're going to leave her alone
Okay,
that
what-
day?
You're going to be out of town?
Probably, but Andre Bocelli concert tonight.
Ooh.
Is that like
tonight.
opera or something?
Huh?
Who is on
Like
Bocelli?
opera? Is that opera?
Classical?
I'm
don't
gonna
know
let
if I
you
know.
guys wonder on that one.
Andre Bocelli.
But I've
Look it
seen
up.
him in Madison Square Garden. Now I'll
It's
get
like
to
opera,
see him
isn't
in
it?
Omaha.
Yeah.
To see
Is that that blind opera singer?
It's blind, but yeah.
An Italian
I think I know who
tenor.
you're talking about. I'm almost
Yeah.
He's a
sure.
singer.
The Italian guy.
Yeah.
Sings really well.
So,
I mean,
you know, once
obviously.
again, one week I might be in an AEW wrestling match, and the next week at an Andre Bocelli concert. And I might throw in a Model Light race to boot.
Yeah, one night you might be watching Monday Night Raw, and there's Jim on row 3.
Yeah.
Jim's going to the concert tonight just to get
with
a
it.
piece of ass for Valentine's Day.
With an
I wish
IMCA
we
hoodie
had-
on. That was the best. Jim was there. He was at a Raw concert, or Raw, whatever you call them, match.
Wrestling event.
Oh, yeah, that
Wrestling
guy
meet.
had, yeah.
And it was on TV, and he's like, I'm right in row 3. I'm like, stand up. He stands up. I can see him. The IMCA hoodie on. He stand up.
I got a souvenir
That's
when
the
I went to
best.
Des Moines. The
Oh,
God,
yeah. It was
the hobby stock guy.
Yeah, I can't remember because he told me he saw you and he gave you
Yeah.
something. He's, you
And
won't
the next
believe.
time I saw him, I think was out going, and he rolled down the front stretch.
Yeah. He was
I
like,
said,
you won't
you
be-
got to get out of this car and make the crowd pop.
When you going to do a
And he did.
podcast? Oh, good times. Rules. You want to talk rules? You want to talk rules for a little bit? We're done with trade show stuff, right?
So I did hear a rumor. I don't know.
tracks.
It was on the Facebook or something. Is there some new engine option or something?
Perhaps.
That's an old rule.
Yeah, but it's still,
old
people are
rule.
still flapping about it. So, I mean,
Everybody's talking about it, asking questions.
Yep.
Dylan,
You know what?
Dylan
Though?
Thornton was
when
down
I was down in Arizona, there wasn't a lot of talk about it. Surprisingly,
I mean,
Well, 'cause
obviously,
it wasn't-
by design, it's very similar to the crate. By design,
correct.
I mean, we call it a spec engine. You can call it lots of things. It's very similar to the
Clone.
crate. Right. Dave don't like it
And
when I
I
say that.
what, clone? Or,
Clone.
Yeah, I call it the clone engine, and Dave's like, "Oh, don't say that."
Don't say that. That's one of those
Well,
Harbor
Tom,
Freight go-kart engines you can go buy as a clone.
Correct, but it's kind of like that.
But I think
Similar.
the fact that
It's
there
competitive.
wasn't a lot of talk about it made it, I think, was good for us. The fact that it blended right in, the clone blended right in with the crates.
It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out throughout the course of the year. Once engine builders are building it, more racers get them, which I think, we don't, contrary to what people say and have said for ever since the crate got introduced, our goal here is not to drive everybody to a crate engine. It's to keep the crate engine essentially as the baseline performance engine within the divisions that we're using it. It's not in every class, obviously, but it is in many of them, and so we're constantly trying to keep that. We're moving that as the bar moves, the industry moves, the engine builders move. They're moving the bar all the time, right? That's what
Usually
they do.
up.
They're moving the bar all the time. So, and what's interesting is people think that we're not supposed to, or we're only supposed to move the bar when they think we should move the bar, and not move the bar when we think we should move
That's
the
the
bar.
way you're supposed to do it.
But our goal is to continue to keep the crate competitive. For every racer that has one in the divisions where they're allowed, is to keep it competitive. We've taken that position since 2005 in sport mod racing, and they're not going to pry us away from it. We're going to keep doing it, and I think we proved that. We knocked the spoiler down a little bit in the sport mods on the open engines or the claim engines, if you want to call it a claim engine. Even very few people are getting them claimed. So we've adjusted a little bit there, and then we've adjusted in the modified division.
Don't say that to Franzen.
One quick thing, one quick thing I do want to mention. We do not have, and do not intend to put the modified spec engine into late model racing. Obviously we've got the IMCA spec engine, aluminum cylinder headed Brodex engine that we had for 20 plus years here now. In our late models, we've added the crate, and again we try to pair those performance issues up as best we can. Late model wise, we have to do it with a plate and some restrictors, but we don't have any intention of putting the modified steel headed spec engine into late model racing. I've had that question asked a couple of times, and I don't think that's a direction we're going to go. At least at this point in time, we have no intent to do that, and we will not allow somebody to do that, if that
What
makes
about
sense.
sprint cars?
Roger handles sprint cars.
Yeah.
That's Roger's department.
There's one. I mean, the one thing I heard, just talking to guys and listening, they like the fact that if they can, if they go to the spec engine or the clone or whatever you want to call it, they can work on it. And they said, that I think there's some of those older racers that they worked on, they were able to work on their own engine.
Yeah.
And then when they went to the crate, they just, you didn't have to, but they still, I think that's an element of our sport that I think some guys have missed, is being able to, they can do everything else, but they can't do that. And I think those guys are happy that they get that option back.
Yeah, again, back to the crate engine and what GM has done and the way GM has handled the crate engine from its inception. We've been left with the repair situation, and so we've adapted to where it makes sense for our membership to be able to repair those engines. We had to take that on all ourselves. General Motors didn't steer that conversation, other than the fact that they just didn't offer any repairs. So we took that on ourselves as an association because we thought it was the best thing to do. We've always stuck with what GM mandated for parts and stuff like that in crates, and none of that's changed. What the spec engine has done, like you said, if a guy's got a 604 that maybe is tired or whatever. He's had it for a while. Most guys these days, a lot of guys have backup engines, so he's got a spare, and the one in his car, breaks or whatever it may be, or he's just tired and he needs a refreshing one. He doesn't necessarily have to go to through the GM seal process or the IMCA seal process to get the GM crate repaired. They literally can cut the IMCA seals off of that engine and put the steel heads on it with the Vic Junior intake. Again, very popular components and have been for years, as long as I've been around. And put those components on a 604 short block, freshen the short block, change the heads in the intake, and the thing is now a spec engine, so and very usable and I think very competitive. So there's a method behind the madness of the way we're arriving at these decisions. We do attempt to make some sense of it all, when at times the sport don't make a lot of sense. But so spec engines and mods. We'll see how it progresses. Sport compacts. I want to talk about sport compacts just a little bit. We did add to the rules that the engines, because we get this question a lot and we answer it, but we don't really publish it, so it's confusing. We do allow that engine to be bored. We do, with and an OEM replacement piston put back in it. We finally put that in the rules. It's highlighted in the rules now, so the racers understand that. Sport compact engine racers can see that, because there's a little confusion where people say, oh, no, I can't do that. If it breaks, I got to buy another engine. That isn't necessarily the case. They can fix the ones they've got, and if they need to replace a piston, they have the ability to do so. That's clearly outlined in the rules now. Let's just give a heads up to the compact racers about that. And then the last thing I want to talk on rules is the stock car Camaro body. I think we need to talk about that one a little bit more. We're starting to see them put on. Racers have got their hands on them. They're available. We're starting to see guys. I start seeing it on Facebook. I know Johnny Spall over here in Cedar Rapids, which isn't far from the office here. He builds a lot of stock cars, races stock cars. He's got some photos, some really good photos of that Camaro body on his stock car. So, and I don't see a lot of bad comments about it. I mean, it started out at Super Nationals where, there was some pretty nasty stuff said about this option, but it's, I think you're going to see more Camaros racing than people might have initially expected, which is good in my opinion. But people have to understand how we've approached this. This is a Camaro body it's a spec body. It's meant to be used as a kit. What you can't do is take what you think you want to use of the kit and mix it with something else. You have to use the kit in its entirety, and that's how the rules are worded. So we're already getting people asking about, can I make this, can I make that? And the answer that we're giving people in that particular situation with the Camaro MD3 5-star body is no. You cannot make your own hood. You cannot put a hood scoop on it. You cannot change the doors. The way that kit is built is the way it has to be used. And conversely, the same applies back to guys who aren't using the Camaro. You can't take pieces off that Camaro and decide to use it on your Monte Carlo. It's very important, because I think we haven't seen one yet. I haven't seen one yet on any of the streams. Maybe they're out there, but I didn't see one. I imagine we're going to start seeing these things showing up in stock car racing. And if you got a hood scoop mounted to that new kit that's not supposed to have, we're going to make you plug it.
Yeah.
On the spot. It's not going to be like, oh, I'll fix that next week. You're going to have to figure out how to get the air cleaner back under the hood like it's supposed to be, and take the hood scoop off and plug it with a piece of aluminum or whatever it may be. And you have to use the fiberglass hood. People are already asking if they have to use that fiberglass hood, and we've been telling people yes. That is the way that car was built. So we're going to stick with that. We're not going to implement a rule and then ignore the rule before we even start racing. So if you buy that kit, use it in its entirety. You have to use the hood, and you cannot put a hood scoop on that hood. Those are the two things that are people asking the most. But
So what you're saying is, if you're building a project out of Legos, you can't put Lincoln logs in with the Legos, right?
correct.
Just making sure.
Right. So I'm sure it's going to happen. I'm sure we're going to have somebody pissed off at us that shows up with a hole in the hood or the wrong hood, one that they made or something weird like that. But you just can't do that with that Camaro body. We're going to walk before we run. You're going to have to follow the rules the way we printed them. And if you didn't call ahead of time, it's not our fault. Because we do have racers calling us, asking us these exact questions. So I think it's out there. I think the communication is there between the people that are selling the body to the racers, like Performance Bodies. A lot of guys are getting these things through Performance Bodies. We've told them, hey, this is how this stuff has to be sold. And they've already said, well, we got guys buying this body without the hood. And I'm like, well, hopefully they're racing USRA. Because otherwise they're going to...
What's that you speak of? That's still a thing?
Somewhere.
Okay.
So it's just important to use that stuff. Any other rule stuff, Jim? I don't think so. I mean, I still want to talk about the penalty box, too. We're going to get into that a little bit.
A little bit about the late models. I think we're going to talk about the limiter chain and all that.
Yeah,
too.
we did define the limiter chain in our late models as one rubber stop. Again, that stuff gets so incredibly sophisticated if we don't. And we're just somewhat following what other associations are doing when it comes to late models. Same with the body. The bodies on the late models have really started to yaw or skew. So we followed some of the general guidelines on keeping the bodies within within a limitation of the yaw.
What about the droop?
Sense.
The droop.
The
droop.
The droop.
Yeah.
Did y'all late model racers hear that about the body?
Yaw.
Yaw.
Y-A-W. No L.
No, that's y'all.
Oh.
Y'all hear about the yaw.
That's
Yeah,
how
so
they're
we
talking
did,
mountain,
and all this
mountain
stuff
home
is on our
journey.
website. All this stuff is on the
Home.
website, outlined in
What's
red.
her name?
So I would recommend any modified, any sport compact, any late model, and any stock car racer who's listening to the podcast to jump on www.imca.com, go to the rules in the drop-down menu, and look at the red line, look at the red print, just to make sure you're familiar with the things that have changed.
Special.
And if you're
little
not
treat
sure
for
how to
our
get there,
viewers.
find someone with a computer that can get you
Find somebody
there.
with a phone.
Or a computer, or print it out, or...
Penalty box. Let's talk penalty box.
Ooh, who went to the penalty box? Are we going to make this thing a real thing this time, this app? Because we always talk about, we ought to have one of those, and then we don't, and then we do it once, and then we don't do it again. So is this new for season 4?
It's an issue. I mean, it's on MRP. People see the DQs now, so it's not like with MRP they see them, so people will start asking what they get DQ'd
What they got
for.
DQ'd for.
You know, Riley Clem over in Needmore is probably one that was somewhat public because, again, Riley's pretty active on social media, which is to each his own. You know what I mean? That's fine with me. We don't care. If he wants to post what he got DQ'd for, he's more than, it's a free country, and we're not going to say, hey, you can't be saying that. He's probably the best example at this point in time because Riley got disqualified after winning in Needmore because he had essentially a right front suspension component that didn't meet the rule the way it was written or the way that we interpreted. And Jimmy May was there. Jimmy was the one that issued the DQ, so it was a good DQ. And I think Riley actually posted the picture of the components on his Facebook page. And when you do that, it's free game as far as I'm concerned. If you're going to post it on your Facebook page and I can find it, I'll take it and we'll talk about it at the podcast. So, yeah, it's a spring. If you've got that one, Nate, we can throw that up. This is Riley's Facebook page. What he did is he used essentially that spring, which is the way that the Mod Light rules, and it would be best to have Jimmy May here talking about this, and we'll probably try to get Jimmy on maybe the next podcast to talk about this rule. But essentially, you can use a keeper or a helper spring, they call it, which is not that. And you can use a bump stop, essentially, also in the Mod Light division, which is not that. So he's got a version of a bump stop and a version of a helper spring that he was trying to say that's the same thing, and it really isn't. So essentially, he had a stack spring.
And once again, on the extension cord,
So
you
he was
cannot
disqualified
run
for that.
aground.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is it he didn't get disqualified for leaving the ground on the plug, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. No power can run to that equipment either.
Okay.
That's how he hooked it up. That's his.
So that was one of the issues that we had with Mod Light racing.
Some guys will break that ground off of the deal so it'll fit in the right plug, and then it's
You
not
can't-
a
you
grounded
just-
cord.
Well, if you just grab it with a set of dikes and rip it out of there, usually you can do that. And then you can plug it into those old. Usually it's those damn
Gotta
Christmas.
find me a pair of those
damn
real quick.
Christmas light cords
Christmas
that don't
lights.
have the ground in them.
Yeah.
But you're ruining a good extension cord ripping the end out of it like that.
What if that's the only way you can plug it in at that situation?
You just do it. That's what I
You go
do.
buy an adapter.
Just cut it off.
Go down to Ace Hardware
cut
and
it
buy
off.
that little Gray's adapter.
what the purpose it serves anyway, it still works. So
Yeah, but see that gray adapter, then it's got the ground that you take the screw out and then you put in there.
Yeah, we started the season back to the penalty box. We started the season off with pretty early DQ. In one of the heat races at Casa Grande, Dave was down there, and we had a lightweight steering box on a modified down there that again made Facebook. I don't know if it nested the box, didn't really make Facebook,
No,
but
the comment did.
The comment and the decision did. You know, and again, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. We try not to make it personal, is the way I look at it. You know, nobody's going to agree. Not everybody is going to agree with our decisions, and especially when somebody's getting disqualified, they're usually not thankful for that. You know, we understand these situations usually come with heated conversations, name calling at times, and all kinds of other stuff, even stuff that migrates to social media. You know, but again, the way I look at some of that stuff is if a racer is not happy with our decision, fair enough. If they run to social media and say that we suck or that we're a joke or any of these other kinds of things, it kind of goes with the territory. Really, you know, I don't take it personally. But with that being said, I can be on Facebook and social media just like everybody else can. And so, you know, in some of those circumstances, they can expect a response. I don't think that it's fair for us not to defend ourselves, because we get called stupid, we get called, we don't know what the hell we're doing, we get called a joke, we get called all these fun things because we're just simply doing what sanctions do, and that is enforce rules. So we're going to continue to enforce rules, and we'll do our best to try to avoid the disqualifications. We usually do, but sometimes it happens, and we've already had a handful of them already this year. So the steering box, and you know, you can't run a lightweight steering box. And if you buy steering boxes, most people are buying this stuff from like Speedway Motors and places like that. Speedway's good about putting on there, if you go down into their discussion.
Yeah, this
or
is not
details,
IMCA
they
approved.
put on there, this is not IMCA legal.
And the
So-
steering box wasn't even a mistaken lightweight one. It was actually machined.
Yeah. Yeah, there's all kinds of scenarios that come up, and people try to justify. And in defense of the racers in these situations, you know, I think people say some shitty things about the racer too. Just because a guy gets caught with something that's not legal doesn't mean they did it on purpose. It really doesn't. I mean, an intent is very, very difficult to prove. Intent is the difference between first-degree murder and second-degree murder. You know,
And
look at-
manslaughter.
I mean, so intent is very hard legally to prove. So we, as an association, we're just not going to play with that whole, well, did he mean to do it?
Yeah, was
Did
it
he-
premeditated?
Did he have it last race? You know, hell if we know. You know, Riley Clem's a good example. Did he have that on his car at Super Nationals last year when he won it? I tend to say no. I tend to say no and something like that because we were all there. But, again, that's an issue you can slide on your race car, and who in the hell would know if you're not looking for it? You know, so
Yeah, and you know, a
it's
lot
always a
of
possibility,
times.
but we make no assumptions. We deal with what we deal with when the DQ happens, and what happened before that, or what happens after that. You know, in our opinion, it's all speculation at that point. So
that always comes down to that thing. Well, I had that on my car last night, and they didn't find it.
right,
Well, the tech inspector wasn't looking. Maybe they were looking at the rear ends, and there was something on the front, or vice versa. They were looking at something on the front, and
or I went through pre-tech.
yeah, or I went through.
I went through pre-tech. I had this on my car on pre-tech. And pre-tech, is everybody knows who's come to Super Nationals. You know, we used to pre-tech everybody. And it just, the event has got, we can't pre-tech 1,000
Yeah.
race cars. We'd be there for an extra week trying to get that done. So we quit doing it. But even in those days, we had issues where, you know, a guy would come through pre-tech, and, you know, then he rolls through after a heat race and he doesn't have a wheel decal on his car. And he said, well, how come you didn't tell me that in pre-tech? Well, you can change the wheel.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can, racers are constantly moving things on their race cars that sometimes can get them in a situation where they unknowingly or knowingly get themselves in a rule violation. We try to avoid it as best we can, but social media makes this stuff kind of interesting. It really does, because there's a lot of our members who are very active on social media, and even the people who aren't active on social media at times, when things like this pop up, they become active. So we try to head it off. You know, again, if somebody's going to throw a a decision that we make out into the court of a public opinion on social media, and I don't agree with what's being said, or Jim or Dave or anybody else, we will defend our position, because I think it's always good to tell both sides of the story and be transparent in these decisions. I think people want transparency. And they want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
If somebody gets disqualified, they want to say, holy shit, did I have that on my car? What do you get DQ'd for? I mean, there's a lot of that, too, that people say, hey, what happened here?
We also had this situation at Casa Grande where a traction control box fell off a race car as it was crossing the track.
Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't that a receiver? Was it a receiver that fell off?
It was something like that. But
receiver or the transponder or something?
I think whoever was on the radio that night with the receiver made a statement over the receivers that, your traction control box must be properly mounted with your car number on it.
Yeah, who'd be stupid enough to say that, Jim?
I don't know. I
Must have been during the second week.
I can't keep track of what gets said at every track.
Oh, yeah.
Nate? Did Nate say it?
Yeah, I would have to
Goes to show
assume.
you how
I would have to
close
assume, looking at the photos on the screen now, it's the guy in the Syracuse hat.
Yeah.
It goes to show you how people listen. And
Because I
people-
guarantee you, they didn't have that. That didn't happen again.
Yeah, Jim says, hey, your traction control fell off on the racetrack. Make sure you mount it securely next time you race. And that made Facebook.
Yeah. Now, when was the last time any of us has seen a traction control box big enough to fall off a race car on a track as it goes over a bump into the infield?
Everybody knows that anybody who wins races is cheating with a traction control device.
Yep. It's the only way you win.
That is the only way.
Absolutely.
Some of these people are winning. We all know that. We just let it all go.
We let it go.
Why would we care?
As long as it's got a sticker on it.
Right.
Yeah. As long as it's got a stamp or a sticker, it's okay.
One other thing I do want to touch on too. A couple other DQs. We did have a rev limiter. We did have a rev limiter situation where it was not set correctly, which to me is somewhat interesting. Obviously, if you get into a claim versus non-claim engine option, claim versus crate engine option, the RPM limits in some of the divisions are different. But we had one of those, which is we see those probably quite a bit over the course. Ryan keeps track of all this
I think
stuff.
you see a lot more like it's unhooked.
Yeah, we don't see the unhooked ones as much as we do the guys who's got it set wrong. And then you see the crafty ones where the guys take the dial off and turn it and stick it back on there, and it reads a different number, as if we don't know that you can do that. It's like they've got a secret that the tech guys don't
It's like
know
a
yet.
cheat code.
Right. Like everybody don't know that people
Up,
are
down,
doing
left,
that.
right, A, B, start, reset.
So we see a lot of reasons why the rev limiter isn't necessarily set correctly or working. Sometimes the ground is wrong on them, and they think it just isn't working. It doesn't test right. I mean, there's a variety of things. And sometimes they're just literally unplugged. We've seen those as well.
We had 5 last year.
Yeah. 5 that were reported.
Unplugged?
That we caught.
Either set too high or not set.
Yeah. So, for all the racing we do, I would think
It's
we'd
not
have
very
more than
many.
that. It's not very
yeah.
many in the grand scheme of things. But then the other thing, too, we had an engine that was big. We pumped an engine down there in Casa Grande that pumped big. So Nate has a picture for that, too. I don't want to talk too much about this. You know what that is, Jerry?
It's a glove with skeleton fingers.
Ryan, do you know what that is?
Well, I guess when you say what that is, I guess
What that picture is of.
No.
Well,
For those
it's
that-
got to be. I mean, I assume we're talking in the cup on the left.
All of it.
Okay, so you.
For those that don't know what this is the internal components of a pump that we use to check for cubic inch limits. That little silver tray looking thing
Yeah.
we call it a puck. Most people call it the puck.
Mm-hmm.
That's the puck, and you can see the seals around it. There's a seal, I think, there to the right, and then the top piece might be the cap to the actual pump. The pump is not a sophisticated piece of equipment. It's a pretty simple piece of equipment. It's just a big, giant plastic cylinder.
Yeah.
It's got a hose on the bottom of it, and it's got a puck inside there, and it's just measuring the volume of the air when
it compresses.
when you turn the engine over. So it's how we use. Generally speaking, this is the quickest and easiest way to check for cubic inch limit. So that's the components of Dave's. That's Dave's puck out of his pump, and those are the pieces that got blasted into his pump when he pumped the engine. I don't really think those things are supposed to be in the engine.
I don't think that you'd
Not
want
sure
anything
how the
like
roll
that.
bar padding got into the engine, but it did. But either way, don't do this kind of stuff. One, we're going to use equipment to check pumps. Or two, we're going to use pumps, equipment like pumps to check engines. We use whistlers too to check
Whistlers,
compression. The whistler's a little bit more sophisticated piece of equipment and much more expensive than a pump.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit more temperamental, and both are sensitive to temperature. So you got to be smart when you use them. Dave knows what he's doing. But we had an engine pump big. At the end of the day, don't run a big cubic inch. Don't run big cubic inches. You follow the cubic inch limit. It is something that we can check, and then the penalty for that is somewhat severe. It really is. So it's not something like a rev limiter where you might get DQ'd, or might just get a $250 fine or something like that. So already this season we've had a handful of DQs across the country. I guess
It happens.
I think if people ask this kind of stuff, it's interesting to know kind of what we deal with. So, and like I said, out of transparency, I don't have any issues talking about it. But at the same time, this is not in any way, shape, or form meant to smear Riley Clem. He's won a lot of races in the Mod Light division. He's a popular Mod Light racer. He's racing IMCA right now down in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He won in Ocala.
Yep. It's more educational. I mean, yeah, he got caught. We're talking about it, but now everybody knows, hey, this is what you can't do. And if you get caught, you're going to get caught.
These are the kinds of things that we see because again, if we're not catching anything, it's likely that we're not enforcing anything. When we're enforcing rules, we're going to catch people that have rule violations. It's just part of the game. So nothing personal to any of those racers either.
It's no different than going down the highway. And
we don't take it personally, and we don't make it
caught
personal
speeding.
when something like that happens. We just make our decisions based on the rules, how we interpret them, how we enforce them, and move on, which is what we're doing next. So what else we got? We got Abilene. I'm going to Abilene next weekend.
Are you?
Well, before we get into the
talk about
upcoming
races.
events, we got
That's
some new
Valentine's.
track sanctions.
Oh, yeah.
We
Jim's been busy.
We picked up a new track up in Michigan, Mount Pleasant. Betty Crook and her son Mario run that place. It's been around forever. There'll be a Friday night track, kind of up in that Merritt Crystal area.
What
up
division,
a little
Jim?
bit. Just modifieds.
Just mods up there?
Mods up there. We got a new one up in Wisconsin, Luxembourg, and one of the things we
One that's back.
Yes.
we
New
do a lot of homework on this stuff, and we talked to the other tracks that might be involved in this decision, and Ryan was there, and we kind of map out a lot of stuff. It's just not like we don't do any homework when it comes to these decisions. And I know a lot of times everybody says, what about that 100-mile rule? What about the 50-mile rule? I've been around IMCA for a while, and I've never seen that rule in any of our books. As a matter of fact, I got the first rule book when I started at IMCA. I could kind of, oh, you can't see it.
Is it green?
There it is.
There it is,
Does that say 1915 on
No,
it?
it says 1968.
1968. And
About when
this is the
Jim
most
started
current
here.
rule book I have.
Jim was 46 at that time.
Most current
And
rule book
I
you have.
can't find anything about that mile radius rule that people are talking about.
That's one of those that just people think exists because they think they've heard it before. Or
Some
they
other
make it up,
associations
or-
do have those rules, though, Jim. I think that's some
What's
of it,
that?
too. Other associations
Yeah, there
do
are,
have
I'm
those
sure.
rules.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the one to the north of us has that rule that says like 50 miles or something like that. And we just don't stick to stuff like that because racetracks can be super, super far from each other. Like Colorado, where they're you got to go hours to get to the next racetrack. Or here in central Iowa, where I can literally touch how many racetracks within an hour.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
So how many racetracks, if we had that 100-mile rule in place like people seem to think, how many racetracks would that eliminate? Once again, our decisions have to be based on numbers. And when we look at what was going on and what is going on up in Wisconsin, I think it made good sense to bring on Luxembourg on a Friday night. It gives us 2 Fridays, 2 Saturdays in 2 different areas of Wisconsin.
that Green Bay area, which is where Luxembourg's
There's
is,
so many
is
cars up
at.
there.
So many.
Yeah.
If you had to do, if we kept a stat on just the concentration of racers, that Green Bay area for its population. I mean, Green Bay's not huge. It's Green Bay. People think it's big. It's got the Packers are up there, but it's really not a big town.
No.
Generally speaking, it's not that big, but the concentration of racers in and around Green Bay is got to be per capita one of the biggest concentrations of racers in any part of the United States.
That whole surrounding area, we put those numbers together, and it's crazy. So I mean, once again, we do a little bit of homework when we make these decisions, and as we explain to the tracks involved, it makes sense, and I would say we've really very rarely been wrong. Then the other one I want to touch on real quick is not a new track, but a new location of a track.
California.
Anybody know what we're talking
I
about?
know where you're-
I know.
Bakersfield.
California.
Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I just scrolling through Facebook and it popped up.
Yep.
Yep. That the Bakersfield Speedway, as we've known it for all these years, will now be located at Kern County.
Kevin
Once again, I
Harvick's.
think Kevin Harvick's Kern County. I think this was one of those deals that came together, and it was needed. I mean, I think houses were starting to surround the track, Scott Schweitzer and Chrissy's track, in Bakersfield Speedway, and they were starting to get some unrealistic requests from the county and places like that.
Urban
So
sprawl.
I think this, yeah,
mean, it's
I think
just
this
urban
whole
sprawl.
move just made sense.
It's
I
the
think
same
we
thing
were-
they have in Irwindale,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
also why Kevin Harvick is, I think, involved with Kern County out in
With
Bakersfield.
Tim and that, and
Yep, you got Huddleston's at Irwindale, which Irwindale it was a pavement track. It's no longer exists. When Tim and I, when we talked at PRI, I believe, he was talking how they were moving they closed the racetrack at Irwindale and started moving equipment
Yeah.
an hour
bleachers,
later. or something.
everything.
Crazy. So it all got moved up to Kern County, and so you had that going on. Kern County's got a pavement track and a dirt track on it. For those that don't know what we're talking about, so there's two facilities, two racetracks out the facility there. I think they got it. Did they have a drag strip too, or were they gonna?
Not a Kern, no.
Nah.
I don't know if they have anything else. Is it just the circle track?
At one time, I think they had an off-road track, I
Right.
believe,
I thought so
or
too, but-
motocross or something.
Yeah, I just come across
But-
this thing. It said the new Bakersfield Speedway at Kevin Harvick's Kern County Raceway Park is getting a makeover that should make racing very fast.
Yep.
Hairpin turn that was once turn 1 and 2 has been reshaped to a sweeping corner, which will make the track larger. They're also adding grandstands from Irwindale,
Yep.
so the overall experience should be different.
It's a very ambitious project.
Yes,
and
very.
In the way I look at something like this is you got Harvick, who probably has enough money. I would say he really doesn't probably have to get too actively involved in racing if he doesn't want to. He's still on television. He was a professional race car driver for how many years? So he probably's doing okay. To me, I think it says a lot about him that he owns a facility, that they're consolidating some of the racing that is going away because they just have no urban sprawl or in Irwindale, and I think that inevitably is what's going on at Bakersfield. I mean, when I first went to Bakersfield many years ago, first trip I ever made to California was with you, Jim, and that's where we went. That was in '97. There was nothing around Bakersfield at that point in time. It was the edge of town.
Yeah.
It was out of town.
Yeah.
Now, the last time I went, just a couple years ago for the California Speed Weeks, and I was astonished at how many houses and how close they were around Bakersfield Speedway. And when that stuff starts happening, the inevitable starts to happen, and the issues like noise and dust and curfews and all the things that some of these facilities that have been swallowed up by population are dealing with, they become very difficult for the racetrack to deal with. And I think I can't say enough good things about Scott and Chrissy, two of the
Oh my
nicest
God.
people you'll ever meet in your life. They're super, super nice people. And Scott has been very dedicated to that place.
And
since
IMCA.
and us since the day he's been there, and we can't thank him enough. I know there's probably a lot of racers in that Bakersfield area, which is, there's a lot of, we know California racers, a lot of say, I'm from Bakersfield. that are probably disappointed that this is happening to Bakersfield Speedway, but it could be worse. And I do think at the end of the day, Scott made the best decision, and I think it's pretty cool that you got somebody like Kevin Harvick that owns a facility that's got somebody like Tim Huddleston running the place. I think it's best case scenario for racing out there in Bakersfield and what's going on.
And Scott's still going to be involved with running the dirt track, so
Right.
Scott's not going away.
Right. He said that on his Facebook page, and he's
But
demonstrated
once again,
that.
you can't find nicer people
No.
than Scott and Chrissy, period.
So hopefully this is a positive thing. I tend to think it's going to be. Again, you got people who are very capable still in charge and running it and owning it and stuff like that. So there's a lot of good signs. The alternative is for no racetracks at times. That it's tough for us to be in business when racetracks are closing. So we don't like to see these kinds of things happen negatively where you just have facilities that are just sold and go away. And we can talk about those too, because they seem to happen. It seems to be like one or so every year. You go, uh-oh.
Yep.
What's happening there? So it's cool when we get back into a place like Luxembourg, who struggled a little bit up in that Green Bay area with finding a night, and finding promoters is usually what starts these processes. And I've said this. I said that it's out at the banquet the other night, and I've said this at our national banquet. And you go back to COVID. When COVID hit, it was the absolute most difficult time for anybody to be a promoter, and it demonstrated at that point in time how important promoters are and how important facilities are. When they all close, what the hell are you going to do with your race car? There's nothing to do with it. So racers need promoters. We need facilities. We need good promotion. And we need good promoters. And they're hard to come by sometimes, because this is on the promoting aspect of this sport, I don't care what anybody says, this is a hard business to be in. I would not want to be a promoter. I've said
Absolutely
that before.
not.
But we need people who do want to be promoters, and we need good promoters. Just like we need people to be racers, and we need good racers. We're all in this together. So, when you see stuff like Luxembourg happen, and they get a little bit new direction, it's, we want to be a part of that if at all possible. We don't want to not be a part of those situations, because we think we're an important part of the industry. I think the fact that we're as big as we are, have as many divisions that we do, sanction as many races that we do, demonstrates that we're a part of the industry, a pretty important part of it. So we take it serious, and it's in many aspects it can be challenging for us to deal with some of the situations like Luxembourg, challenging to deal with some of the situations like Bakersfield, but at the same time, there's some very positive things that people always got to focus on, and we need people like Scott to stay involved as long as he can. We need people like Joe Bellum. As fun as Joe is to make fun of, we need people like Joe busting their asses, and his right-hand person, Suzanne, doing the best they can to keep racing alive in Colorado too. So, what else?
Now we got some races coming up in the very, very near future.
Go to Abilene for the icebreaker on Valentine's weekend.
Yep.
Then
I think
go to the beach where hopefully the snow's melted.
Yep, we
For the
got
Clash on the
Abilene.
Close,
We
Sugar.
got
The Sugar
we
Bowl
got
at
the
Hendrick
Sugar
County
Bowl coming up
this weekend.
this week.
Yep. Starts tonight.
On
Or whatever.
IMCA TV.
And Jim's going down to Florida for the RPM workshops.
Yep, that's Sunday. Head
Daytona.
down there.
You gonna go out to the Super Speedway, Jim?
Negative, Ghost Rider.
I used to do that stuff when I went to Daytona. One year I went down to RPM. I actually went to Hendrick County first.
I might go race go-karts.
I went to Hendrick County. We've done some of that too. I had a lot of fun in Florida. A lot of fun in speed weeks down there. It is a fun. Obviously we don't do much in that pocket, but we do have some
I
races.
get in on Sunday and out on Tuesday, so in and out. That's kind of the
Overachiever.
And then I'm going to Abilene next weekend, which is the 14th and the 15th, Friday and Saturday.
We got, even after that, the week after that, we got KSP, their spring kickoff on the 21st and 22nd of February. And that same weekend, just to, what would that be, the north of KSP, if my geography's right by Bucky's, we'll have the Race Savers, and a big shout out to Texas Motors, whatever we call that, TMS.
Yeah.
They're cured. They beat the
They beat the
contaminated
contamination. That's right.
dirt. And a big
I think it
shout
went away
out for
with
them.
COVID.
That because that was touch and go there for a long time.
Did they put a
Oh,
big mask
absolutely.
on the dirt track? And it
No,
fixed
they
itself?
went through some filtration kind of system that was some kind of a weird mask.
I
kind
read
of
that the dirt was
filter.
contaminated and it was no longer going to be usable as a facility. So
Yeah, apparently
I'm not sure what.
Apparently, they had
changed
too
that.
many rodeos.
But it's
there.
good to see Race Saver, IMCA Race Savers there.
Yep. And hey, the big news is Roger's going to be down there for that race.
Really,
So everybody
I
needs
did
to be
not know
legal,
that.
Kevin Ramey, because Roger will be there.
Roger Hayden.
and then the next week after that, I think is when the Clash on the Coast starts. Am I thinking about that right?
It's like the 24th.
the next
yeah,
the next couple days.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be entertaining.
Yep.
Peyton
Mojave
Taylor.
Valley's going to open up their regular season on the 8th.
Yeah, they open up this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
It's one of those. It's a cool facility. I've been there too. It's
Yeah.
up there in the. I mean, it's what 3 hours from Vegas. Is it 3 hours? 2 hours?
Yeah, I
from
think
Vegas?
so.
I mean, I flew into Vegas one year and drove down to Mojave Valley and went to the races down there. That was back when Walt Carter was
Walt
there.
had it. That was the last time I was there. Uncle Walt.
Yeah. A cool little facility that has some really, really good IMCA racing. Really, really good IMCA racing.
Always has.
It really has. But it's one of those facilities that people don't necessarily know because it's kind of off the beaten path. But it's in a very
Correct.
cool area.
Correct. But they do a great job down there. I mean,
They do.
the improvements that I see online that, they've put into it. And, it just really shows, the effort, the care that they're putting into it. And we appreciate it like we do with all our promoters. But, once again, really what Ronald and, Ron and his brother have done down there, we need to give them a shout out on that. Then after the Clash on the Coast, you get up here, we're racing in the Midwest.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a crazy winter. I haven't used a shovel once.
It's weird.
There was more snow on the ground in Denver when I was there than I had seen all year here.
I think every time it snowed, I used a leaf blower. Just didn't.
I just hope
I
that
had
Just blew. I didn't even get the shot. I mean, my snowblower's in the garage, but it ain't. The last time I fired it up in November to move it from the shed to the
I just
garage,
hope
and
that
that's where
doesn't
it's
mean
been.
it's going to be a late winter. Hopefully, it
Yeah,
doesn't
that stupid
linger.
Buxatony Phil did see a shadow. It's still only 6 more weeks away.
You asked me what I got for Christmas. I did get that for my wife. I wanted the Milwaukee leaf blower.
Oh, yeah.
And the way I found it, I was at Super Nationals. I was using Todd Van Eaton's or Jonathan Lowe's.
Yeah, he's got.
He had a Milwaukee leaf blower that I go out and I blow off the concrete out in the infield with it every morning, and I'm like, this is the handiest damn thing ever. So I told him, that's what I asked for. You get it if you buy them at Tyson's, you get a free battery. So I thought that was the best deal ever.
See, I've got two
Well, I
gas
got-
powered
Because the
ones.
batteries
the
are the
Toro.
expensive part.
I get the Toro, but then it sucks you in because then you have to get every accessory to go with it.
I have been sucked into the Milwaukee world when it comes to tools and power
I've got
tools, and
same.
oh my god, they got some
Old
cool
chainsaw
stuff.
that I'll never use.
They just buy shit you don't even need it. They're like, I'll take it.
The best thing that I bought was the Milwaukee electric grease gun.
I have one of those.
Oh man, you pull the trigger. You
Yeah,
know, way it goes. It's got a light on it. You can adjust the speeds.
I bought one.
It's awesome. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not even going to go there.
Things are
He's the
greasy.
maintenance man at Marshalltown this year.
Yeah, got to go over there and do some maintenance. I run the road grader tomorrow.
Sounds fun.
It is.
Those things I've
No
never ran
comment.
before. Okay, so we'll start wrapping it up. A couple quick things before we do. First off, I want to tell Carson and Casey.
Yep.
You know, our marketing director Carson. His
Had a baby.
wife Casey had a baby yesterday. 10 a.m. is what he told me. I don't have much more details than that. So I do want to, I think that's just, I'm so happy for him. I know that they're going
Yes.
to be, they're on cloud nine. I guarantee it. He sent me a picture this morning. That's all I got is a picture, and it happened at 10 a.m. I don't know names. I don't know weights. I don't know lengths. I don't know any of that
Gender.
baby stuff.
Too excited.
I think it's a little boy.
What'd they have? They had a baby.
I think it's a little boy. I think he did tell me that, I hope. I get
Carson
that right.
Jr.,
Yeah,
Carson Jr.
We'll call him CJ.
CJ.
Yeah.
If they haven't named him,
Little
you just
CJ
did.
was born yesterday at 10 a.m., so we're happy for Carson and Casey. Dave, a lot of people don't know this. Dave became a grandfather.
Super Dave?
Yeah, Super Dave did. Just like a week ago or
Week
so,
ago.
roughly.
Yep.
So initially, Dave, I was going to try to have Dave go out to Abilene because Dave does such a good job, and Rob likes to have Dave there. But Dave is going to be seeing his new grandchild next week. That's his plans before he heads off to the Clash on the Coast. So Dave will be down there. So I'm going to Abilene.
Well, we went to Abilene last year and we spent one day at the track and 2 days trying to get home.
Yeah. And
That was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Because we get
cold.
because it got cold and
So cold.
we raced had practice Thursday, raced Friday, and then Saturday it dropped down to like 10 degrees.
It's like 80 degrees in Texas today. And next week it's going to be crap.
Well, that's what it was. Yeah, that same thing
Again.
last year. It was like
I would hate being a promoter. I feel so like, again, weather is incredibly important for racing. I don't care what anybody says. People will come out with maybe it's a little hot, but when it's cold, shit gets real for promoters, in my opinion.
A week from this coming up Friday, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, it's supposed to be like 68 degrees down in Abilene.
Rob says that's cold.
Well,
Shorts weather, isn't it?
yeah. For me, that's shorts
shorts
weather.
God.
That's not cold.
So, anybody up here in the Midwest, get your shit together and get on down to Abilene.
Yeah, the weather's going to be
gonna be
better
a
than it is here for
heat wave.
sure.
Yeah,
It's going to be better than Iowa weather. It always is.
better than Wisconsin.
And
weather.
Rob's track, I just love going to Abilene. I've been there.
I do like that place.
I've probably been there as much as any sanctioned track in the country, because for two reasons. One, I like Rob. Rob is such a good guy. He is so good for this sport. He's one of those guys that doesn't have a ton of money. He owns his facility. He is a small business owner, so I have a huge amount of respect for guys like Rob. He's not renting the place. He's not, he has to pay taxes on it. I mean, he's got all the ownership issues year round of running a facility. That is hard. That is very hard. So I have a great deal of respect for Rob from that standpoint. Anytime he wants help, I want to try to help. I go down there to help. I don't know if I'm necessarily much help, but I go down there. Plus, Rob and Libby are some of the nicest people you meet. Racers in Abilene are very fortunate to have them running that facility.
And the good thing about going down there for the icebreaker, I was down there. I've been around IMCA for a lot of years. And I think I've been to Abilene once. I'll only go there for the icebreaker. You know why?
Why?
Snakes are still hibernating.
Oh yeah, they are.
It is a little cold for the snake
Yeah, it's a
season.
little cold for the snakes to come out.
But I'm driving to Waco next week. I'm going to go down there with my wife, and I are going to go. She's going to stay in Waco, and I'm going to drive over to Abilene and go to the races. And I do want to mention one thing too. Keith White, what's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-time IMCA national champion.
Yeah.
Over the holiday season, his house burned down. So
Oh, I remember seeing that. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you see all that stuff, wildfires. We saw all that stuff in California, and obviously, I could not imagine what that would be like to experience. But Keith is going through that. He lost his home. He's got kids. He's got Jackson and Journey. I think he's got like 4 kids, but I think he got the right names. That they lost everything. So they're having a benefit next weekend, the same time as Abilene's icebreaker. I would like to go to both, but I can't. I'm probably going to end up being in Abilene for the race, but I think my wife's going to go on IMCA's behalf, on our behalf, to Keith's benefit. They're doing a fundraiser down there. So, yeah, I mean.
I just have to make a quick apology.
Whoa, time out right there. Whoa, time, date. Remember where you're at, folks. Remember
were
where
you wrong
you're
about
at,
something,
folks.
Jim? Were you wrong?
The person who just called me, I thought I hit the decline button, but I hit the answer button. Then I had to hang up on him. So whoever just tried to call me,
Whoops.
I didn't mean to do
Oh, I
that.
thought he actually did something, really screwed something up and finally owned
Yeah.
it. But
Come on.
So
Jerry,
racing
you know
is
better.
getting
I know.
going. We're it's going to start warming up. Hopefully, we can do another podcast here in another couple weeks. We have more stuff to talk about.
yeah,
We gotta fit 14 in.
We
The
got
rest
at
of the
least
year,
14.
yeah.
But
Spring Nationals of Beatrice is right around the corner.
yeah,
Registration's open
Shit's
for
going to get
that.
real, and
Week
everything
before
is
that,
lining
Park
up. It's-
Jefferson.
You talk to some of the retailers, like when I go to the trade shows and stuff, I usually talk to the people that are building cars or selling parts. Always curious, okay, like how's your business? How are things doing? And people are saying there's a lot of positive things being said. We're not hearing any doom and gloom stories necessarily from any racetracks. So I think that 2025 it appears to be like it's going to be headed in a good direction. I know we got plenty of contracts coming in and plenty of stuff for us to keep track of and plenty of events for us to sanction. So
I think we've got about a little over half the contracts in. I've entered 1,500 race dates.
yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah, the process
It's gonna
here
be a
when the
busy year.
contract comes in, Ryan and Jim and Virginia, we enter all that stuff so we know what they're supposed to be, what to expect from every racetrack for every event with every division. It's a lot of front end work for us to deal with at IMCA to keep track of all the stuff that's going on. So, and that's hot and heavy going on right now, but it won't be long, and we'll be at the Frost Busters.
Yep.
In April, right? Beginning of April.
First week of April.
you selling concessions that night.
I think I'm gonna man the women's bathroom. Make
You still
the
have the
toilet-
141 burger there?
Yeah.
So good and so can't.
That is like one of my favorite
Yeah.
oh, it's
concession
so good,
foods.
but it has to be so bad for you.
Yes.
Oh yeah, your heart slows down. I think when you eat that thing.
2 pieces of meat on between 2 nice toasty buns, Ryan.
We should
That's-
have a session. We should have a session about track food.
I don't see why not.
We
So-
got
Jim.
we got a blog.
Like people's favorite track food. Again, when I go down to Abilene, I had to stop eating them because he Rob, like, you want another hamburger? I'm like, yep. I don't think I ever told him no, but I had to start telling him no because I would eat like 6 cheeseburgers watching the races in Abilene.
Yeah.
Hot dogs at Casa Grande. Nate,
Steak
comment.
sandwiches. Boom.
Nate?
You never pass up a good wiener, Jim.
Yeah.
Heart
Here
of
we go.
Texas. Heart of Texas has chicken fried steaks. They're so
Damn, yep.
good. I've always when I go to Waco, that's what I get when I go to the racetrack. And they got the best fountain soda. They got fountain soda, not bottled, at Waco.
Yeah, the key to
They got fountain soda, and their DP is
Dr.
the
Pepper.
That's
best.
rare anymore.
I know.
so the key
DP.
the key to good fountain soda is to make sure that
There's shitloads of sugar.
the canister that it's in, you keep cold, refrigerated. It's actually a science to it.
Really?
Why do you think my and the
Do
one
you
who
have
puts
fountain
this,
soda?
No,
Yeah.
we buy the bottle.
Yeah.
But if you go to
Fountain
McDonald's,
soda at Abilene.
but if you go, yes, they do. But if you go,
DP's the best.
if you go to a McDonald's and get a fountain Dr. Pepper and go to like a Casey's, there's a difference.
Why is
Because what happens is the canister that the syrup comes in is kept chilled from
That's
the
the
time it
difference.
gets
McDonald's?
to. Yep. And
That's
they only do it with Diet Coke.
But they have a different syrup
This
or
is the
different formula for
fascinating
Coke.
shit you learn on this
McDonald's does.
podcast.
I know.
This. I want to know this
Yeah, I think
stuff.
McDonald's has their own.
People can
Yeah.
quit
Their own
listening if it's
recipe.
boring now, but I want to know this stuff.
It's like the oil they use for the fries and the fries. Nobody else. They created their own oil.
I literally will go to the fountains. If I go to any Casey's, I go to the fountain first to try to get my soda because I like fountain soda better.
I do
But
too.
there's good fountain soda sometimes and what I consider to be bad. And I just assume it's like the syrup ratio mix. Like
Which
it's got
Pepsi
too much
is-
carbonation. Sometimes I'd be like, it doesn't taste very good. It doesn't have enough of the syrup in it.
So it used
Too
to be like at
carbonated.
the state fair, the only fountain Pepsi I would ever get was at Campbell's Concessions, and they had the corn dogs
Yeah.
because they
So you know
did.
where it's at.
It was more syrup, and it was a complete different taste. Kennedy's here.
Corn dog.
Kennedy, hurry up and get in and
She
tell us
probably
about
wants
your
to talk.
wrestling.
We ain't gonna get this over.
Hurry up, get on.
Really?
Mom wanted me to come and get you because she has stuff to do. She has meetings.
All right, put your headphones on. Tell us about your wrestling meet the other night.
What am I talking about?
About wrestling.
What am I supposed to say?
How was your wrestling?
Good.
Did you win?
Yeah.
I saw you got a pin.
Yeah, I got 2.
Here, turn this way so we can hear you.
There.
This is the strangest situation, when she says, I'm going to wrestle. Last year, she's in 8th grade now, but in 7th grade.
Did you cry this year?
We've been cheerleading forever, which is very feminine, very, very girly girl. Cheerleaders, not a lot of aggression, a lot of really good team camaraderie and all that stuff with cheerleading. It's a culture, literally. And then she wants to wrestle, which is like the opposite. It's like you walk in
Yeah.
the room and everybody wants to wrestle. The parents and everybody want to wrestle. But she's making it work.
So you got a takedown, got a pin,
Yeah, I got 2 of them.
2 pins.
She's 3-3 on the season. I'm keeping track for her.
Oh, you're keeping track?
Keeping track for her or for you?
For me.
For her.
Okay.
Last year, I don't know if did you win a match last year?
Like 3 of them.
Not very many.
Like 3 of the
So this is why he's keeping
9.
track this year, so he doesn't
Looking
forget
for
that you
improvement.
won.
Yeah, but
yeah.
she's not in club wrestling or anything like that either. Where again, girl wrestling in Iowa is relatively new.
And high school state girls wrestling meet
It's this weekend.
starts today.
Yeah.
Well, Thursday.
Thursday and Friday.
What grade are you in now?
8th.
Are
You
you
went to
allowed
school
to
there
use
next year?
ladders in your matches?
Let's use what?
Ladders.
He wants to know if you guys do you have a cage
Ladders.
match?
Ladders.
What's
He's
ladders?
He's like a ladder. He's talking like WWE.
Yeah,
stuff
he's
where
talking
they
like
have
wrestling, not
You
wrestling.
take a ladder
Hulk-
and
like
whop
Hulk
somebody
Hogan
upside
stuff.
down
Oh,
with
no.
it.
Like a folding
No
chair?
bar-
Can you
no
hit? Can you
barbed
hit? Can
wire?
you get
No
like a
barbed wire.
folding chair and
No.
whack him with a folding chair?
No, that's bad. We'll get in trouble if we do that.
I think parents do it sometimes during matches. They'll hit somebody with the folding chair. I think I saw a video one time where a guy picked a chair up and threw it at another parent because their
Yeah.
kids were wrestling.
Yeah.
You want to talk about? You thought race car drivers are passionate. Ooh, them wrestlers. You'll find
Is your
out. She
mom,
keeps
Tell me
up.
about it.
is your
It
mom
was
ever
weird,
yelled at
scary.
another parent, Kennedy?
No.
Is your mom wanted to
She
fight
doesn't
anybody?
sit by her
there?
mother. She doesn't hear what her mother says. I do.
My mom gets.
It's going to be a problem.
She's scared.
She's scared.
She's scared for her, but
She thinks I'm gonna like break my neck or my shoulder. Cause we just at the home meet last week we saw a girl break her arm.
yeah.
Well, you can break your arm getting out of bed.
No, she snapped it like
Well,
completely.
you could
in
do
half.
that. You could fall out of bed and snap
Yeah.
and get a
And
compound
squealed
fracture.
and screamed, and it was hard. It's hard to watch as a parent, some of that stuff.
I was on like 2 matches after that too.
You were. Same mat. She was right in front of me. Girl broke her arm right in front of
Wow.
us.
Yeah, but you haven't had to have anything stopped for any blood time or anything.
Yeah.
She gave the girl a bloody nose last night.
Yes. Good job, Kennedy. Yeah, you are going to be using ladders and chairs.
You get your
here.
wrestling talent from your mother, don't you? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Take all my anger out on the girl I'm wrestling.
That's what I tell her.
Just don't pick them up and slam them down. That's
Pretend
not
she's
legal.
pretend.
Yes,
the-
it is.
Pretend
Not
she's
if you
me.
like put them over your head and
A
suplex,
suplex?
them.
No, you can't do a suplex.
Yeah, don't do a
That's
suplex.
illegal.
Okay.
You can do like a double leg and stuff. That's all legal.
Is that like similar to like a figure 4 leg lock?
The heck is a figure 4 headlock?
Leg lock. Jim, explain the figure 4 leg lock.
This is Hulk Hogan.
Well, you
kind of
have
stuff.
several variations.
The Ric Flair. Woo!
You have the sharpshooter, which is kind of a variation of the figure 4.
Maybe we give him the DDT.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, we're been on
We're
for
an hour and a half already.
90 minutes.
Wow, we were almost done till Kennedy
been
showed
talking
up so we
too
could
much.
talk
Too bad
wrestling.
nobody-
That's why they're out in the parking lot. They want to go to lunch. Like, hurry
Everyone's-
the hell up.
No
Because
one's going to
Mom
see you,
has
Kennedy.
Mom has meetings she's got to do.
Everyone's
Yeah.
going to be asleep by the time that you get, by the time your appearance shows up on this podcast.
Right.
An hour and 30 minutes.
Nah, have Nate put in the details.
Ryan,
Special
they
guest.
were asleep by
at
the time Jerry was
1:27.
talking about Christmas presents.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap it up.
All right. Kennedy, good luck in the wrestling.
Thank you.
You bet. More pins. Brett, keep us abreast of the situation.
I will.
It's time to go. Thanks for tuning in. Season 4, Episode 1. A lot of great racing coming on IMCA TV. Don't forget that replay pass. Go back and catch all the great IMCA action that's happened in 2025 or everything we've got archived. So until next time,
About 3 months from now.
yeah, 2 3/4. See ya. Thanks for joining.